Hello, my name's Alexander White, and I have a nice, easy beginner's tip for mixing today. Something that is probably easily overlooked if you're brand new to recording or mixing music. And it's simply using bus tracks to sum a whole bunch of channels into one very easy and manageable place to be able to adjust volume or add additional effects like compression or EQ to an entire group. So here's a mix that I'm busy working on. And if we just go through the tracks, we can see that I've got a kick drum here. Then we've got some kick samples, a kick sum bus, which takes all of these tracks and puts them onto one bus here. Again, that's for easy control. Then we have a snare, which goes over to a snare sum. And guess what? We've got a kick and snare comp, overheads and rack tom, and a floor tom. That's just for the drums alone. That's already quite a lot of channels to manage. So far, this mix is halfway through, so I've done quite a lot to the drums. The bass is yet to be mixed, so as you can see, it's just one track all on its own. Then we've got a whole bunch of electric guitars that were recorded at the time, including some guitar feedback tracks. Then the vocals, they're somewhat being mixed. They're in the middle of mixing. And you can see that we've got a bunch of channels for this. Now, over here, we have our drum bus, bass bus, guitar bus, and vocal bus. And this here, these four tracks are the things that are really interesting us. Because you could imagine trying to mix these drums now, that we've got all of these channels. This would be a nightmare. If we just wanted to turn the entire set of drums down, we'd have to do something like select all of the tracks and then hope that our faders move all at the same time and follow each other nice and easily, and that you don't accidentally miss one. Or we'd have to make a group where any track that you click on selects everything, but then it's kind of awkward because you have to switch the group on and off in order to access individual tracks. And so the nicest solution, I think, for this is to just have buses that route all of these things just to one fader. And it's fairly easy to do this. All you have to do is make sure that on any of the tracks that you want to route to one bus, they all come straight out of the output channel of the track and route just to this one bus here. Then once you've got this, it's really easy to simply turn the whole group of drums up and down. It makes mixing so much easier. You can also start by adding plugins to the bus. So it's very easy to just start straight mixing on the channels, start getting a kick, a snare sound, and do you know what? You can make such brilliant moves by just working on the bus alone. So before you do any mixing at all, you might just play back the raw tracks and just think to yourself, well, the overheads are a little bit bright. Just try turning down the EQ on the bus, see how that affects things, because it might not even have too much impact on the individual snare or kick drum. It might still sound cool, but you've just handled the overheads just all in one control. It might even make the kick and snare sound smoother by doing it as a group. You also avoid phase problems by doing this. When you have a group of tracks that are all care about the phase, so for example multi-track drums or guitars with multiple mics on them, when you start to EQ creates phase issues. You know, that's when you turn an EQ control, unless it's a linear phase EQ, which not all of them are by any degree, you will literally be changing the phase relationship of that one track to something else. So just by changing the EQ on one track, you might cause things to start sounding a bit thin. So again, a great reason to start processing on the buses. So that's it. A nice, easy, simple little tip this week for people who are brand new to mixing. Make sure that you create a bus group and send all of your main instrument tracks over to the buses, and then have the buses go off to the main track. Process on the buses to create a cohesive and glued sound that that will make your mix sound more natural and yet still really exciting and really punchy. And then you can come down to your tracks down here and work on them as normal once you've had a little bit of a tweak of the bus tracks. Well, thank you so much for just hanging out for this tiny little tip. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic week. Of course, please let me know in the comments if you've got any questions about using bus tracks with any mixing or anything like that, because we could do more videos on sort of the mixing of just what happens if you do just do what we call top-down mixing on these individual buses. And that could be something cool for later. But yeah, just please let me know. I hope you have an awesome week, and I'll see you on another video next week.